Hello and welcome to Working with What You Got. I'm your host, Renee Joshua Porter, and I am so glad that you decided to join us. Remember, our show is all about you realizing that you have more than you think you have. You have more time, you have more talent, you have more resources, you have more faith, you have more food, you have more people on your side, and it is time to unknot your mind. Well, usually we start all of our shows with cooking, but we have some young people today that are sizzling all by themselves. We have the Truth Urban Theater Group, and they're going to be hitting home with one of their powerful theatrical performances. We have Mooks doing her rant. Then we're going to be on the comfy couch, keeping it real. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the truth.
Mi madre siempre me dice, spare the rod, spoil the child. Although I wanted to spoil you, my firstborn, my only child, I knew the world would break you if I let it. I remember the first time I held you. I vowed to never harm you, to protect and always love you. You see, I never knew music until I heard your laughter, the sound of your heartbeat as I rocked you to sleep, joy and love overflowing within me. I still remember the first papao I gave you. Pero espérate que te voy a castigar. Chancleta raised in the air. I would not let you be ruined. So with a heavy hand, I yielded my love. I was determined to see my baby boy grow into a man. Mijo, aplícame.
¿Qué fue, ma? What did they say?
Mijo, you're going to be here a while. They denied your appeal.
Mira esto. What am I going to do, ma? I can't stay here for 10 years in jail. You got to help me.
I wish I could, mijo.
Ma, you said you would. You said you would help me.
No. Not this time. I can't get you out of trouble this time. Ya tú sabes.
¿Qué? What do you mean you can't? You always do, ma. Please, por favor, please, don't let them keep me in here. Please, ma.
The lawyer tried everything. It's done,
Ma,
Miguel.
but ma, why can't you just get somebody to get me into house arrest or community service? I'm going to be better, ma. Te lo prometo. I promise.
Miguel, mírame. I'm not the judge. I have no say. I told you the lawyer tried everything. There is nothing else we can do. Nada más.
Ma, I really don't want to hear this right now.
Oh, so it's all about you. And you think I want to hear parents telling me how bad of a parent I am? You think I want to hear my son's name in the news cada mañana y noche? You should be thankful it's 10 years, Miguel. They could have put you away for good if she would have died.
And you still don't believe me, ma?
Ay, Miguel, whether I believe it or not, does that matter right now?
Yes, it does, ma, because you're all that I have.
Oh, all that you had. But I sure was. You decided to skip school and get in that car.
Okay. I got in the car, I held it, but I didn't pull the trigger, ma.
Te van a dar 10 años en la cárcel para que finque. Tienen el gordo, you had a gun. That is all the proof they need to have you here. And whether or not you were part of that shooting. An 8-year-old girl was paralyzed and you were among the group that shot her. Imagine how a girl of that age feels just because a bunch of teenagers want to kill each other over color. How do you explain to her why that happened?
Ma, like I said, we didn't aim to shoot at her.
Miguel, estoy estúpida.
No, ma, claro que no.
I know you didn't. But guess who took that bullet? She did. A bullet has no name on it. And whether or not you were part of that shooting, you were still a part of a plan to take someone's life. So now is the time you man up and take responsibilities for your actions. Me escucha. Miguel Martinez, me escucha.
Sí, ma, te oigo, te oigo.
I'm not going to go soft anymore because I kept telling you to stay out of the streets over and over and over. Te lo ha dicho.
Ma, I'm already in here. All of that you're feeding me right now is just straight basura.
¿Para dónde? Repiten, por favor. Go ahead. All that crap I'm feeding you could have kept you at home if you would have listened. Look how selfish you're acting right now. It's all about you, right? Do you know what I'm going through right now? My only son is in a jail.
Ma, I don't know why I'm here. But I told you I didn't pull the trigger.
I heard that before. But you're in here. That's all it is right now. You're in here, not in school where you're supposed to be. I told you to stop hanging with that group. I told you they were trouble. Didn't you for once ever stop and think that it would catch up with you? People tried to help you, Miguel, but you kept turning away. ¿Por qué?
Ma, I think this is a little bit for me to handle right now. Like, what do you want to hear from me, huh?
Miguel.
Huh? Okay, Ma, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I skipped school to go and smoke. I'm
Miguel.
sorry that I was repping. I'm sorry that I was coming home drunk, acting like I didn't care, but I do care,
Miguel.
Ma, is that what you want to hear from me? Because if it is, it's already too late. I'm going to spend 10 years of my life here. I just want you to find a way to sacarme de aquí because you don't know what I go through every single day, Ma. I have people threatening me every single day, over and over, the same thing. I've been here for 5 months, Ma. 5 months. And I feel like ending it, but Ma, I'm here because I want to make you happy, and I miss you a lot, Ma.
Miguel, basta, por favor.
You know the one thing that I don't miss, Ma? Is when you used to give me those damn bows. You smiling over there?
No, I'm not.
I'm being for real. Like you used to come down the stairs with the chancleta, and then after you hit
made me so mad, Miguel.
you used to come and give me a hug like
You
that.
got me
That had
going
me so
loca.
weird. But you had the neighbors bugged out, like wondering what the hell is going on. You used to give me so many scars. Like, you want to see the scar over here that I have?
No, Miguel, tú eres estúpido.
No.
I will give you a pop
No.
now.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to wrap it up.
Ma,
Miguel, be strong. I'm going to see you again.
Ma, that will be in months, Ma.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, please wrap it up.
Ma, I promise I'm gonna be a good boy. I promise, Ma.
Mijo, you are my son. I know that already.
Then take me home with you, Ma.
Miguel, siéntate.
Ma, please, I can't stay here. I need to go home with you, Ma.
You know you can't come with Miguel. Don't do anything stupid.
Ma,
No,
no,
no, Martinez.
I have to go and take it.
No, stop. No, I
I'm not going.
Wait! Still bars. And either of you reap what you sow in mijo. Te amo. Te amo. Te amo. Repeated endlessly on 15-minute phone calls. And I wonder, was my love enough? Did I spare the rod too much? Make you soft for the wicked world outside, vulnerable to the influences that affected your mind. Your charges are mine now. Mi corazón is in lockdown. And now he screams for water, not realizing I cannot quench his thirst. He created this hell, and now he must live in it with the worst of the worst. If only, but it is much too late. His charges, his sentences, my fate. Spare the rod, spoil the child. Mi madre siempre me dice. But I would give anything to give him one more papao. If it meant I could hold him safe inside my arms where he belongs. Instead of watching my son become a man behind bars.
How you doing, Doc? Can I just say a few things? Just a few things to her, that's all. Thank you. How's she doing? Okay, thank you. How you doing, baby girl? Hey, Daddy's here. Can you wake up for me just a little bit? Listen, the doctor said that you're getting better. You are. You are, baby. You're getting better. Okay? Now listen. Remember those group of people that were in the car? Yeah, they're gonna go away for a very, very long time. Okay? Maybe you didn't do anything wrong. You did nothing wrong. You understand? Now, Daddy did something very stupid. He went looking for those people, and he got himself into a lot of trouble. So now Daddy's going to be going away for a little bit. I want you to be a good girl. You understand, Sydney? I want you to be a good girl. I want you to respect your mother. I want you to take very good care of her. You understand? That's my girl. Now, one more thing. I want you to remember this. On Sundays, you make sure that you don't go to church. Do you understand me? You make sure that you get as much as you can. Do you hear me? Baby, nobody even came out the house. We were on our own. There is no God. I don't even understand it. So for Daddy, you make sure that you get as much as you can. Don't worry about church anymore. There's no such thing as God. You understand, baby? That's my girl. Listen. Sydney? Sydney, babe. Sid. Doc. Sydney. Doc. Sydney, baby, what? Sit. Doc. What's going on? Why'd you? Why you stopping? What's going? What's? No, she's. What? She's okay. She was just smiling at me. No, I promise she was just smiling at me. We were both okay. Sydney, baby, what? No, she was. I'm telling you, she was just smiling. We were just talking. She was just smiling. Just keep pushing. Look, listen, nobody touched me. I'm fine. Look, I'm fine. I'm fine. She was just pushing. No, listen, just keep pushing. She was fine. She was fine. Everything was okay. Okay? My daughter's fine. I said, nobody touched me. I'm fine. I'm okay. Seriously, I'm okay. You just keep pushing. She's fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with her. Keep pushing. Keep pushing. Just keep pushing. This is what you wanted? This is what you wanted, right? For my daughter to pass, this is exactly what you wanted, right? It's exactly what you wanted. I don't know why anybody in this room even cares about this God. Why does anybody even trust this God? What has this God done for you? He's taken away half my family. And now he's taking away my daughter. The only one thing I had in my life he's taken away. I don't understand why anybody in here trusts this God. What has it done for you? Huh? What's it done for you? Are you absolutely nothing? But you still worship him. I have went to church. I have done every single thing you have asked of me. And you take away the one thing that I want. The one thing I have in my life. You know what? You know what? Since you're taking away her life right now, let's just take mine. Go ahead. Go ahead. Just do what you want to do. Just take my life already. Just do it. I've done everything. I mean, what more can you want? What do you want me to do? You want me to live for you? You wanted me to live for you? That's what you want. Cindy? Cindy, no. No. Cindy. Cindy. No, you're supposed to. She's supposed to be. She's. Cindy. Cindy. You're awake. Okay, you got it. You got it.
Wow, wasn't that an incredible performance? Just awesome. Amazing job, Shadrach. Hi, I'm Milani Porter. Welcome to Working with What You Got's Rant of the Week, where I rant about various things that concern me. Now, with all the craziness going on in the world, there's just so much to rant about, I don't even know where to begin. But today's rant is specifically dedicated to domestic violence deflectors, specifically those who come up with every excuse imaginable to justify violence against women.
They usually say things like, well, women provoke men to violence, or men can be victims too. Now that is completely true, and I am in no way condoning or dismissing violence against men. However, I don't understand why in our society, every time a woman is a victim of domestic violence, our first focus is provocation. Well, what did she do to provoke him to hit her? Excuse me, there's nothing she could have possibly done. We all saw the video where Ray Rice hit his wife out not once, but twice in that elevator, causing her to hit her head against the railing. There is nothing Janae Rice could have said or done to possibly warrant such a level of brutality. This wasn't a stranger on the street. Janae wasn't one of his teammates. She was the woman that he pledged to be with for the rest of his life. She was the woman that gave birth to his daughter, and that's how he treats her? There is absolutely no excuse. And it's very similar to when young innocent black men are shot dead in the middle of the street and their bodies are left for 4 hours, and the deflectors come out again and say, well, he was no angel. With his pants sagging, listening to hip-hop music, he had to be guilty of something. Excuse me? No. Now, I know in this blurred lines generation, a lot of people are afraid to say if something is right or wrong. But you can't shoot people and kill them because you don't like how they look. And you cannot beat, punch, kick, or slap your significant other, your wife, your girlfriend, your fiance, your baby mama because you're angry. You can't do it. No ifs, ands, or buts. Thank you for listening. See you next time.
Hello, and you have tuned into Working with What You Got. Are we cooking today or what? The truth was on fire. Woo! I'm Renee Joshua Porter. I am your host. I'm so glad you are here. I have some dynamic, phenomenal, on point young people on the couch today, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves. I'm going to start right here with Shadrach Walking.
Watch it.
Watch it.
But you were
Oh, I was
close. You were
close.
close.
I knew
though.
I had to
Yeah,
do a dip with it. You told me last time I
yeah.
had to dip. Watch it. Right? So go ahead. You go ahead and introduce everybody.
Well, it's definitely a pleasure to be back. I can't. It's when you gave me when we last met and we were just talking about this. I was just everything just kind of sprung up, and I'm like, I can't wait to come back. My name is Shadrach. I'm president of the Truth Urban Theater Group. And
I'm Tony. I do spoken word and act in the Truth Urban Group.
My name is Lionel Arcee. I'm an actor, and yeah, I've been in the truth for a long time.
I'm Melissa Lamb, and I am an actor and a veteran of the truth.
Okay. If you guys mind me asking, how old are you?
I am 24, going to be turning 25 this December.
Okay.
25, going to be turning 26 next year.
I'm 24.
24, turning 25 in October.
Oh, God. I remember that age. Ooh, I'm jealous. Well, come on. Let's talk. Let's talk. What's the mission of the truth? What's the mission? When you mount a platform, when you step into an arena, what are you trying to accomplish when you leave?
Heal.
Heal.
To heal. The one thing that we always go over when we are at rehearsal is are we healing? And that's the one thing that when we leave out of there, we must feel as a mission, because we can't help others heal if we can't do that ourselves. So with activities and just going through the script and talking about it, I mean, for the past weeks, we've actually, I don't even know how many times we've let go of rehearsal for like, we spoke for just hours just talking about the things that really matter to us. And that's one thing I really appreciate about this group.
So what are some of the things, I would start with you, Lionel, what are some of the things you feel as a veteran of the truth that matters to you?
More about just being yourself and just being very in tune with like the organization as a family, you know, being one as a family, knowing each other's ways of being, loving each other, you know, putting God first as well too, you know, always having that and just basically just always understanding each other and keeping each other close like a family. You know?
Okay. Now, Melissa, what are some of the factors that you think your generation is really dealing with now? What are some of the plagues? What are some of the plights, the cancers that you see just going totally amok right now?
Prejudice, racism, Wow, that's a tough question. It's so unfortunate to think that our generation is going backwards, and we haven't learned from our past. I think the biggest thing is race at the moment, um, and I just hope that with whatever skit that we put on for them or whatever conversations we have with people, we can just bring the truth out there, let people know that it does exist because so many people are blind to it, and some people don't even realize that they are racist by how they act or treat other people. I just want them to realize that these problems do exist. We need to change in order to move forward.
Okay, so let me ask you this. You said the problems do exist. Does racism and discrimination, do you see it happening in the church?
Church.
In the church. Come on, keep it real.
I could say probably yes in certain aspects, but not every church.
Right,
every
right,
church,
of course.
every church has
course.
their limitations and all that, or every church has, a way of bringing every nationality in. But there's some churches out there that are still kind of prejudiced amongst Hispanic, Black, white, whatever it is.
I know sometimes when I go into a church that's not my church, and it's predominantly African American, I get people staring at me, looking at me, like judging me. I feel judged.
Yeah.
And church is supposed to be the judgment-free zone. You're supposed to go there with your problems, and that's when you're supposed to be able to connect with God. But it's hard to connect with God when you have people looking at you and saying, "Why are you here?"
Yeah.
But that could also be for vice versa. If someone were coming to a more predominantly Caucasian church,
I think
it happens all the time.
I definitely I agree in many ways with Melissa. I think it's interesting you really brought this up because I was thinking about it earlier. The church that I go is predominantly Caucasian. And the one thing that stood out to me a lot, especially going to a lot of different churches, is we really don't talk about these matters. These topics don't necessarily come in the forefront. It's something as if it's buried because we're here and we are in the presence of God. What we should really just focus on is on the Bible, which the Bible goes into so many, you can really translate into so many different ways. But the one thing that we really don't focus on is really what's going on in our community.
Right, current.
And it's just,
Current
we don't
affairs.
stay current. That's the perfect word to use. And just being there, you definitely do feel the presence of God, but then you know that there's something missing. That you go home and you're watching TV and you're watching the news and you're seeing all these things happening and you pray, but you know that it's the one place that you go that you're supposed to feel most comfortable about talking about these issues. You really don't, because you don't want to do what? You really don't want to offend anyone.
Yeah, I think it's the elephant in the room that people are afraid to discuss. And I think the church represents humanity, right? And we are all flawed, right?
Yeah.
So we want a perfect church, we have to get out of it, right?
Exactly.
Right? Because as long as we're there, it's flawed. I think, though, what's so powerful about groups like The Truth is that you bring the truth, right?
Yes.
So you kind of take off the mask and you say, you know what? We have this issue. Let's deal with it. We still love, we still hurt, but let's just deal with the issue. I was thinking, I mentioned to Shadrach something. I get a lot of envelopes for save the tusk for the elephants. Save these rare birds in Central America. Save the skin of the zebra, right? All these endangered species.
Yeah.
But when I think of young people, especially young males of color, that's an endangered species.
It is.
So who's sending out the envelope for them?
Well, currently,
What do you think?
nobody is. I feel like it goes back just to our history. People forget that slavery is not 400 years old. It just ended about 100 years ago. And that mentality is still within us, even though we want to put it below the surface and act like everything's okay. And because of that, these young male of colors have also internalized a lot of that self-hate. So you see a lot of, the violence. And because of the idea that they don't care about themselves, there's kind of that question of why should we care? And
Well, I thought it was interesting, though, with your character that you played. She was like, pow pow. right? Because that's the mom. You know, I want to keep them in line. I want to keep them out of jail. No, don't do that.
Yes.
So how do you be a parent of faith? You know, and I don't know if you guys are parents. I am. But I'm just saying, from your aspect, how do you be a person of faith, right?
Right.
And you want to stay in tune, you want to stay current, you want to stay loving, and you may know that there are people that you fellowship with that may be indifferent to your son, right?
Right.
Or indifferent, you know? Because I've been in congregations, right? And I've heard them say, we got to get together and pray because of all this, the stuff going on in the Middle East or the stuff going on in Israel and Pakistan, you know, all that stuff. Those are current affairs, and we need to pray globally because we serve a global God.
Yes.
But you're like, wow, nobody's saying anything about the killings going on.
Right.
Right? So you find yourself feeling like, wow, I'm feeling messed up right now. So what do you think? I mean, yeah, I want to hear different perspectives.
We were talking about this
Yeah, we
actually
were.
in the room.
We
about
were.
being
I think it's
desensitized.
because as like I said, it's people have become so desensitized to it because it's the norm, and because it's the norm that it's okay. And so we were just talking about the fact that we need to go back to realize that there is that one voice, but so many people think, well, it's just me. If it's just me, why shouldn't I speak up? And it's about empowering the youth and empowering each other and finding that empowerment to say, no, this isn't okay. But we've become so used to it that we're like, well, this is normal. What can I do about it?
So we're desensitized.
We are desensitized to it.
I also think it's a sense of fear that people are afraid to speak out because they're afraid of what other people are going to either do to them, say about them. With social media, people could be ripped apart. It's very rare that you have, especially young people, speaking out against what's wrong to bring attention to it because they don't want any negative attention on them.
I feel like right now, me and a good friend we were talking about, we are like in a hashtag era. If something is happening, we're going to hashtag it, and it's going to run for a certain period of time. And once everybody's bored of it, then it's kind of like we're just going to move on. Okay, what's next? So we're in that what's next phase rather than let's focus on what's really happening. Let's solve it. Let's heal. Let's go through this together, and we can go on. But I'm gonna flip the script a little bit on just the way that I'm seeing, I guess, in talking, and also I seen a documentary called Teenagers. And one thing I've realized about us is that the old generation, is always looked at as teenagers being rebellious. But somehow we've always managed to evolve and find a way to change things. We've found a way to be able to move them. You talk about the civil rights movement. A lot of times people look at MLK, but people don't really look into a lot of the college students who are really at the front line, who are running and who are making changes, the freedom riders, so many of them. Then we go all the way back, even towards the time of World War II, or what was happening with the teenagers and what they were doing even during the Depression to gain some kind of some dignity. And so as time, I feel like every single generation, the teenagers, we're constantly looked in a way of being rebellious, and we need to be structured. And this is the time when we are experiencing, we are seeing new things, and we are also trying to find our place. But because the older generation has already been structured, they know exactly where they should be. I feel like then it's kind of like we want to mold them. So sometimes I think about it, I'm like, how will I be when I get to that age, when I get to 45? Would I be looking at the teenagers and saying, these kids need to get it together?
Right.
So it's really interesting when I look at it from that perspective, because I still have so much faith in teenagers and young adults. I really do, because there is something about them that is still so unique, even past all of them. A lot of times what they need is just that hug and just that moment to be listened to. It's not even for you to talk to them. It's just for you to sit down, be quiet, and just listen to them. Because those kids that are usually quiet, once you give them the time for you to be quiet and just stay in that room and just let them know they're not being judged, they can talk to you for 1 hour and you won't say one word. Everything will come out. And what will all come together and saying is, I just need someone to just listen to me. I just need that hug. I just need to know that I'm loved. And it makes a huge difference, because we've all been there. We all need that. It's the human experience.
I think that's an excellent point, Shadrach. I really do. I think that's an excellent point about how there's still hope. And that's the God that we serve,
Yes.
Exactly.
a God of hope,
Yes, indeed.
right?
Yes.
Mhm.
So no matter how bleak things are, we still believe. I mean, that's what a lot of times people find so foolish about Christians. It's like, why you serve this God and all this stuff going on, and but we still believe, and we know that hope does not disappoint.
Right.
We just have people that like to judge other people, and people just live in judgment when there's only a God that judges you, not that person.
Yeah.
You do what you have to do in this world to get to where you want to be, reach to where you want to go to, and become whatever you want to become. But people are afraid to do that and step out of their boundaries, that immediately they're like, oh, what's going to happen when the first person is going to judge me? Now I can't do whatever I want to do.
So let me ask you this: how do you deal with race and Christianity and those issues? For instance, do you what spectrum do you look at it from? When you hear something like a Ferguson,
Mm-hmm.
what lens are you looking, right? I hear a Ferguson, I look through the lens of a mom first, because I have two sons. And
Well,
and then I'm always like, okay, what's going on? What do you say?
Right.
And then you hear just the gross darkness. What
Mhm.
lens? I'll start with you. We work around. I'll start with you, Melissa.
Start with me.
When you hear it first, because especially as a Caucasian female, I mean, there's stereotypes that are placed and people automatically lump. What do you think?
I hate when people use the race card, but it exists.
Mhm.
It does exist. I always look at it as I wasn't there. You weren't there. None of us were there. We don't know what happened. We're playing the game telephone where someone's saying, oh, well, this happened, it's passing on to this person, and they can always misconstrue the actual events. And all I can say is I hope that God will take care of it. I hope that He knows where justice needs to prevail. Who was wrong, who was right. It doesn't matter, someone's dead. No matter what the cop did, no matter what Mike Brown did, whatever, it doesn't matter. Violence should never be the answer. It doesn't matter what color the skin is. It doesn't matter, who said what, where you are. That should always be the last choice.
Now, let me just ask you this. I just want to interject. We weren't there, but we are living in a digital age where so much is recorded. So, certain things are just, no pun intended, in black and white. You can see it.
Well, it's very true, but I also, being a film major, I also know editing. I also know how I could take my video that's on my phone and edit it and change things. I don't trust that. See, I understand that we live in a digital world, but I don't trust it because half the things you see on television or on the news, it's swayed.
They've been altered, right?
They're-
Now, let me just ask you. And I'm just speaking to you, Melissa, but I mean it for everybody else. It can be altered. It is sensationalized. They love to create muck. People love muck. They love dirty stuff. But you see it happening over and over and over and over again. So you know that it's not manipulated. You know that it's a direct attack. What do you do? Where does your faith? I'll get to you too, but I just want to throw it to everybody. What does your faith do with that? How do you navigate through that? Because why I'm asking is because people want to know why we believe and how to do. How do you? They feel like we live in la la land, like Christians live in la la land, and we just like, yo, what do you do with that? Seriously.
It's hard because when you say you want to have faith, and as humans, we're all about why did it happen, and we need this understanding. But we have to remember that God has a bigger picture for everything, and sometimes His will never be known to us.
Right.
And that's where it's hard for us because of the human aspect of free will, how we're grieving and how we feel this anger because in our eyes it's another black child, another black male, and a long list of other black males who've been killed, or vice versa. And so you pray, but sometimes you wonder why, and I think that's when it's hard, you want to question it. But I think that's something that some people do have to work on when it comes to not understanding God's will and understanding that sometimes it's will, it will be done, and we just have to have faith that there was a reason for all of this, and the bigger picture will come out.
It's just, it's hard to hear that from Mike Brown's mother. Sitting on the other side and say, if somebody says you have to have faith as part of God's bigger picture when you're at your son's funeral, and you're trying to understand what bigger picture can there even be. My son is dead. I brought this child up, and now I'm looking and I'm going the mind, and you really sit down. I remember one time, I think I was going with someone to a hospital, and I had just heard that a man, this Caucasian man, had shot another kid just for playing music, loud music, in a car. And I cried. That was the first time I'd actually cried over just hearing these stories. Oh, that's the first time I cried. And I cried because I know a lot of my friends who play loud music in their car, and they won't turn it down for anyone. They're just not. If someone come up to them, knocking on the window and say, turn down your loud music. I'm not turning down my loud music. So because of that, you put a gun in their window and you shoot. I cry because there are some friends that I have who to if they go somewhere, just by the way they look, someone may say, oh, and they'll probably use the N-word. But you watch them sit down and actually talk, or you just watch them in a classroom. The mind if I can't, because I know how intelligent and how smart they are, but the fact is we look at them and we judge them right away. And it hurts because I know these people. I know that if somebody puts a gun through their window and they shoot, they don't know who they just shot. They don't realize that person could be the next biggest, that could be a scientist right there. They don't understand it.
Like looks are deceiving.
It can be very deceiving, but that's not, and the thing is that it gets up to the point where we say to ourselves, well, that's how society's supposed to look. We're supposed to look a certain way so that but society set it up that way.
Mm-hmm.
It's set up that way. I'm not saying walk around with your pants down.
I think that people also act like that because if you look at the world today, people don't believe in God anymore. Mm-hmm. They don't believe in God anymore. They have no faith. They don't. It's like they're just living and walking aimlessly. And so they don't, when you have a problem, like when we have a problem, we always have someone we could talk to. Yeah. But when someone who doesn't believe in a God has a problem, they're going to take out their anger and aggression on other people. They're not thinking clearly, which is why people will just shoot someone because they're having a bad day and they heard someone playing loud music. That's why, maybe this cop, was having a bad day and this guy just kind of pushed a button, and he pulled the trigger. Because it's sad. People need to start believing in something in order for there to be a change.
Well, I think that's what's so powerful about what you guys do through your theater, because you present real issues and you have God as the focus of it without hitting them over the head with a Bible, and you know what I mean? It's just, in a way where people are like, come on, people like to say I'm spiritual. You've heard that, right? I'm spiritual, but we make it in a real practical way, and that is so, so important. We're going to cut to a commercial. We're not cutting to a commercial. We keep going. Okay, 2 minutes. All right, the truth.
The one thing that me and the Vice President Jamal, we were talking about this, is a lot of people are focusing a lot. The focus right now is on the Black youth and what they're doing, and if they're doing something wrong and why they're being killed. I would hope right now that's what it is. But what we began to really think about was, what if we looked at the cops? What is making them tick? What is making them reach for their gun every second? What is making them what is it about them? And I was reading a book called Blink, and it's interesting because towards the ending of the chapter, it was really going into why cops tend to do such horrendous thing and where it actually is coming from, where it's all deriving from. A lot of it was also this machismo, and you want to call this bravado they put on when they're in a car with their friends.
You know what? This is a deep discussion, and there's a lot to go with it. I think that's a very, very big factor. I also think the other factor is fear.
Yeah.
Fear. It's a rough job. Yeah. It's a frightening job. But the truth, I am so glad that you came. This discussion is going to continue. It has to. Thank you, Shadrach. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Lionel. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Remember, I don't care what you're going through. I don't care the obstacles that come your way. I don't care what gets hurled at you. Even now in this age, you see fear gripping the land. You see celebrities killing themselves. It's the sign of the times. And right now, our people perish for lack of knowledge. You know what you need to know? You need to know the truth. And the truth will make you free. Now, free your mind, and the rest will follow. See you next week. Thanks for coming.